Now let's go back to our cook action, and this time we will spend a bit more time looking at the optional properties. Start time and end time, well, they're the time and end time of the action. Some actions where the start time is equal to the end time, when you cook something or when you like something, the start and end time are the same. Imagine if you're watching a movie or listening to a song, you want the start time to be when you started and the end time to be the start time plus the duration of the action. And the difference between the start time and the end time is how we do present tense versus past tense. Is watching, was watching. Is cooking, was cooking. Publish time is when you publish the action to Facebook. And then there's these new properties here. So we have place, tags, images we've already used, and user message. So let's go through a few of these. The first thing I want to do is actually say where I'm cooking this. So imagine if I'm building an application all about food and I eat recipes in restaurants. Well, the place could be the restaurant. So here I am at Facebook HQ in London. So what we're going to do is say that I'm cooking lasagna, Thai green curry at Facebook HQ. So I have the place ID for Facebook London already available to me. I found it earlier. We have an API for searching for those. So this time I'm just going to add a place field and add in the Facebook place ID of this place. So let's hit submit. I want to go back to the activity log, refresh, and this time we've got a slightly cooler story. Simon cooked lasagna on Simon's Food app at Facebook London. So let's see how this appears in newsfeed. Simon cooked a recipe on Simon's Food app at Facebook London, lasagna for a birthday made with beef and pasta. So we're starting to get a pretty cool story here. There's a ton of context. This is really engaging to click on. And because I've added a place, this is going to appear on my timeline map too. But we're not done yet. When I go and eat at a restaurant, say, and say what I'm eating, I don't often eat alone. Sometimes, believe it or not, I go and eat with friends. So we can actually tag other users in this post too. So again, we quickly go back to our action. You'll see this new other optional parameter called tags. So again, let's go back to the Graph Explorer and let's add a new field, a new property called tags. And it's going to be a comma-separated list of user IDs. This is my colleague Gareth, and this is my colleague James. So let's click submit. I'm going to get a new action ID back that represents this object. Let's go back to our activity log again. And here we are with a new story. Simon cooked lasagna on Simon's Food app with Gareth Morris and James Pearce at Facebook London. So let's see how this story appears in newsfeed. There it is. Lasagna, birthday, beef, pasta, Facebook London, Gareth Morris and James Pearce. Now because I've tagged Gareth and James, it's as if they have done the action too. They are with me, they did it as well. This means that this story is now on their timelines and in the tickers and news feeds of their friends. And it's just like tagging someone in a check-in or tagging someone in a photo. It means they were there too, it means they can see it too, and it's going to drive more distribution from their friends to your application. It's important to note that those guys have to be like, it has to be as if they were with you doing this. This is not posting on their wall, this is not including them in the description. This is as if they did the action with you too. It's absolutely awesome for stuff like me and Gareth and James cooked a recipe together. And there's one last thing we can do too. So once again, let's go back to our application in our application settings, and there's this new parameter called user message. So we can go back, and the final thing is add a message parameter. Say, this was delicious. You can guess what's going to happen. I hit submit, post the action. Let's go back and see how this looks in newsfeed. There's the new action. Simon cooked a recipe on Simon's Food app with Gareth Morris and James Pearce at Facebook London. Lasagna for a birthday. It was made with beef and pasta, and it was delicious. So there you go. That's the power of posting to the Open Graph. That story has tons of context. It's really interesting to click on, and that is in the news feeds and tickers of my friends, and it's on my timeline. It's in aggregations. There you go. There is the timeline module. Simon cooked a recipe on Simon's Food app with Gareth Morris, James Pearce at Facebook London. It's delicious. Lasagna for a birthday made with beef and pasta. I can publish those actions from every single platform, mobile web, native iOS and Android, the desktop web, and even like applications that exist on Windows, OS X or Linux.